Hey y'all, this is part two of distractions, and your problems is your distraction. I'm going to be reading some verses on today from the Word, and then I pick up from there. This is Hebrews the 11th chapter, the first verse. Faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in Him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. That was Romans the 15th chapter 13 verse. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. Matthew the 6th chapter 34th verse. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Philippians, the 4th chapter, the 6th verse. Your problems will become distractions because we as humans, whenever we're going through stuff, it's like we'll forget to put it in God's hand and let God work it out for us. We'll just try to figure it out on our own, and then we will worry ourselves about whatever we're struggling with. And then don't forget about that old trickery, manipulative devil that start playing on your thoughts because he already know that you're worrying, that you're stressed. He knows that you haven't given it to God. He know you trying to figure out, but I want to tell somebody, don't allow your problems to be your distraction. See, what I have learned is to put it in God's hand. But this is the thing. We always get taught to put it in God's hand, but did you leave it alone? And our problems will become a big distraction to where we will forget about God. We'll forget about taking it to God. We'll forget about putting it in God's hand and just trusting Him with it. You got to leave it alone. Our problems will become big distractions. And that's why God say, trust Him. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. And that's what He wants us to do when you give it to Him. Don't worry about it. And you got so many people out here that's learning how to have faith and trust in God and give everything to God and stop trying to figure it out and work it out on their own, to where you really have people start trying to talk against it. All because you're learning. God is teaching you how to build that faith. God is teaching you how to trust Him. But you got people out here that's not there yet. And they'll start, throwing salt on the game and start hating on you. All because you learning how to give everything to God. Let me tell you something. You better learn how to let things go in one ear and come out the other. Because that's what the enemy would do. Would start trying to plant doubts into your mind. To where you would just forget about God. And you won't even give it to Him. Y'all, it have been times where I will have something going on. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'll be like, wait a minute. Let me put this in God's hand. And soon I put it in His hand. It have been time where He didn't work it out the next day. He didn't work it out a couple days, a month. It didn't take Him no time. He had worked it out, y'all. It was within 30 minutes. I can't make this up. Our problems will become distractions. Because guess what? We didn't give it to God. Don't you want that kind of faith? I told God this morning when he was giving me this message, Jesus told them, I tell you the truth. If you have faith and don't doubt, you can do things like this and much more. You can even say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it would happen. Matthew, the 21st chapter, the 21st verse. I told God this morning when he gave me this, I want to have that kind of faith where when I speak to that mountain, my faith will be so strong to where it'll just move on out the way. And God will show you if you just trust me. I was speaking to someone on the phone the other day. And before we was getting ready to hang up, I just started hearing, trust me. And it was a song, but I didn't know who sang the song. I didn't know the words to the song. But before we hung up, I just started humming it. And when I hung the phone up, I was like, I got to go see what this song is. And I searched the words, and the song was Trust Me by Richard Smallwood. And y'all, I'm not a songstress, but I'm going to tell you what, when you sing and you worship in song, don't you know God is getting the glory out of it? Sing that song, worship in song. Trust me. I'm not a songstress. Trust me. If only you just would trust me. Trust me. Trust me. If only you just would trust me. Trust me. Trust me. If only you just would trust me. That's what God is saying. Trust him. That's all he wants you to do. Is that when you're going through things, whatever that problem, whatever that situation, when you give it to him, trust him. And that's what he was telling me. Trust me. That's what he wants you to do. And I'm learning to trust God with all of my problems, with whatever I got going on. I want to have that faith where I'm not really worried about this. I'm not really worried about this whatsoever. And you got people that cannot even understand you having that type of faith. Do you know how much people talk against that? I don't care. I don't care what they saying. Because it took me a minute to get here. My faith wasn't this strong. I wasn't putting things in God's hand. I was trying to figure it out on my own. But I had to ask God to teach me how to have that type of faith. To teach me how to trust in him in everything. Can't nobody talk against that. Because when God told me to trust him, what is it that man can say to me? When God have told me to have faith in him, what is it that man can say to turn me against what God has told me to do? And I want to tell somebody, God said, trust me, trust me. If only you just would trust me. That's all he wants from you. Don't allow your problems to be a distraction. Bye, y'all.